Good evening and happy Friday night movie night to all my movie maniacs after. I am Mr Knast. Tonight I am joined by Miss Andrea. Uh, it is just the two of us tonight. We had a little bit of a snag. Mike Russo had something early tomorrow morning he has to take care of, and my guest host for the night had a rough day, so they backed out. But we still love her. So Morgan, if you're watching, you have to join us another time. So I know the advertisement said Disney movies. We are going to talk about some Disney movies, but in a different form of Disney movies. We were going to finish our list of animated Disney movies, but instead we're going to switch gears and talk about what kind of category would you put this into for Disney?
I would say more like comedic, more adultish Disney, I guess. Because you got your animated that is more targeted towards the younger audience, where the movies that we're going to talk about tonight is more targeted towards the older,
like teenage Disney.
Yeah.
So we'll wait a couple of seconds, see if anyone wants to pop in the chat and say hello. I'm sorry if I still sound a little bit of hoarse. I'm getting my voice back slowly. Don't know what I've had. I didn't go to a doctor or nothing. I just been trying to take care of myself like I always do. Bad idea, but so if you see me reach over and drink some lovely red stuff, I'm drinking Mimo so I can drink water to rehydrate myself. This is my 7th bottle of water today.
Good, keep up that intake.
So it's definitely helped me, I feel like. So it says we have 5 people watching. We got 5 people on Facebook. I think it's me, Andrew, and 3 other people. So if you're in the chat, feel free to say hello. We don't bite. We welcome anyone here.
Yeah, you're all welcome, and me and John are going to do our best to entertain you tonight.
What is this? Oh, we got a bedroom shot. Hi, Mike.
Sleeping. What's going on?
Not much.
I'm only here to make a quick appearance and say hi to Andrew.
Okay.
Hi, Mike.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I know you hate me.
Never.
In the bedroom, like Russo.
You just have a great day tomorrow.
Thank you, hon. You're the best.
Well, don't get yourself in trouble. I expect to see you at 6 o'clock.
That's true. But yeah. All right, you two. But I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
To all the people out there, have a good night. These two are super knowledgeable.
Yep, I'm going to have a nice talk without you. So
beautiful.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Hi, Curtis. Hi, Matthew.
I promise I didn't plan that. I was in the bedroom like this. Anyone else want to randomly pop in where they're located right now? I'm just kidding. I don't need to know where everybody's at. But Matt, Curtis, good evening. Thanks for popping in the show. If you're just joining us, we were just joined momentarily by Mike Russo. I didn't expect it, but hey, it is what it is. Of course you did.
Hi, Morgan.
That's why, Morgan. It's just good to see you in the chat. Thanks for popping in. It's funny. Morgan actually just texted me right before we started. Our show from Tuesday night, Take a Joke Night, has 104 views right now. So, kudos to Morgan. She killed it on Tuesday night. She will be back this coming Tuesday night for entertainment night now. So, oh, hi, John. Oh, hi, Morgan. Nice to see you. So, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool.
What do you want? You want to start with which?
Let's start with the Ben Stiller one.
All right. So,
hi, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin peeks now.
So tonight, instead of doing our normal animated Disney, if you guys are just joining, we are still covering Disney, but we're covering the comedic heavyweights, and we're going to cover Mighty Ducks. We figured we would wait and finish up the animated Disney when we have Mike and Morgan. That way, everybody's here to geek out with Disney together. So tonight, me and John are just going to switch things up. We probably won't do as long of a show tonight, but it'll still be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. So, heavyweights. I'm kick Kevin out. No, we're good. Kevin's welcome in here too. Sorry. All people are welcome. You know that. All right. So Heavyweights is an older Ben Stiller movie. Who else is in this movie?
This is probably one of the first movies that I actually enjoyed Ben Stiller in. There are some movies out there that I don't like him in, but this is one where I'm like, he just was really good with his role, and like it was meant for him. Nobody could play the role as good as he did.
Oh, I agree. There would never be another Tony Perkins, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is funny is just looking at like who wrote the movie, I didn't know that Judd Apatow was a writer, so that makes it even better because I love him.
Oh wow! So he actually helped produce and directed the films The 40-Year Virgin and Knocked Up too. Wow! So talk about a beginning, upcoming, and then knocking out the park with those two movies. Huh.
Now it didn't do too hot in the box office. It only raked in 17.6 million. And I'm thinking with this, it's because, I mean, it is Disney, but you had the Mighty Ducks out, a lot more well-known Disney movies. I don't ever remember seeing this one out in the theaters. I mean, I was only 4 at the time when it was released.
What year? It was a 95.
95.
I had just turned 8 years old when this movie came out. I'm old. But no, also keep in mind too, in the mid-90s, Disney was still all about the animated aspect, and not really like a live fiction movie like that. So maybe that had something to do with it. But so apparently, according to Wikipedia, from what it says, the plot is school ends for summer. All the kids are gearing up to go to a certain camp, and Jerry's parents insist him on going to Camp Hope to lose weight. So they have the, I guess you can say, recruiter come in, show them a really cool video, how much fun the kids have there doing exercises. They have the blob, which is a really fun thing to do in the lakes. So he doesn't want to go at first, but then gets thrown on a plane. The next thing you see him is on an airplane, sitting there, and he starts meeting all the different kids that go to the camp as well. Kenan Thompson's in this movie. Who else? Aaron Sean Weiss, who plays Goldberg. So you have a Mighty Ducks connection already within it. So
Matthew, I was just telling John, there's this fan theory out there that this movie Heavyweights is a prequel to Dodgeball.
I got it.
No, Kevin, that's too easy, too convenient.
I got it.
One thing I remember about this movie is how you were saying like his parents want him to go to fat camp, but isn't his parents also heavy set? So it's like, why are they forcing him to go to camp to lose weight when they don't seem to care about their weight?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe to make sure he has a better life than they did.
And that's a fair point too, because if you look at it, I mean, yeah, look at it that way. They're like, well, we suffered or we went through this our whole life, and we don't want you to go through the same because, you know, people are mean, and, you know, the heavier set people get picked on a lot more than a skinny person.
Yeah, well,
so I can definitely see that.
That's not always true, but so let's see.
So he replaced all the fun camp activities. So pretty much the whole infomercial that they show is a complete lie. Like the camp is nothing what the videos made to seem.
Well, they first originally get to the camp, and the new owners come in, so everyone gets all excited, thinking it's the owner, and then they announce that they filed bankruptcy and all that stuff, and everyone's like all upset. But then they hand it over to the new owner, Tony Perkins, and that's when Vince Still's character enters basically filming a commercial. It looks like.
Right, he's in his little jumpsuit and he's doing his the 80s exercise.
Because the funny thing is, if you want to really dig deep into this, the original owner of the camp is Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller's father.
Hmm.
The character that plays the owner of the camp is Ben Stiller's actual dad. Interesting enough, but so Tony comes in, says that, and then the owners leave. Ben Stiller's character says, like, this camp's not going to be fun anymore. We're going to do, like, the best weight loss information, like Andrew was saying.
Hmm.
And then the next morning, they show him, like, popping the blob, dismantling go-karts. And all the kids already want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
But, go ahead.
One of the most memorable scenes in this one is when the kids are hiding candy and they're hiding them like in the bedpost and just anywhere that they can find that Tony won't go look because he likes to raid the cabins to make sure that nobody's sneaking in junk food.
Yeah, he has the thing he knocks on the wood with.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
And then there's the one kid, he's from England. He makes chocolate out of a jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Like, he has the chocolate wrapped around his stomach.
Yes.
And then, like, once Tony finds the other chocolate, he tells everyone if they have anything else to pull it out. So, the melting chocolate.
Yes. I like when they try to do the dance with the girls' camp, and it's just so cringe, like it's just the most awkward thing.
Oh yeah. Not the guy, like, I guess you can say, like, the third main counselor. Not, what the hell is his name?
Lars?
No, the other one. He's one of the good counselors trying to get back to the original camp.
Is it Tim?
Tim, yes. This really bites. And he just keeps walking back and forth saying that on, like, this really bites. That's sneaking in that fast food is another part of that movie that was really funny. They start playing that I Want Candy song, and it's like in the middle of the night. One of the bad counselors is sneaking in fast food, hiding in the tree stump. Yeah, Matt knows what he's talking about. Put this back up. There we go. What else?
They sneak into Tony's office shortly after he's confiscated all their snacks and sweets. I can't remember. I want to say somebody might have squealed on them and is like, I know exactly where they're hiding their food, but they sneak into Tony's office and then they find all that. And then they also learn that Tony has been intercepting their letters. So any letters that they wrote to family never made it to their family.
Which I think is not right at all.
Right.
Like, what kind of counselor does stuff like that? Like, if I was at a camp like that, like, I'm pretty mad. So, like, then what proceeds into them doing next is exactly what I would do. They lure Tony in and kidnap him, pretty much, in his own camp. They pull a trick on him. So.
And then they're forced to go on that hike, remember?
Yep.
He thinks that that's the best way to punish them. If they want to eat and get fat, then they can go on a hike. 20-mile hike, mind you.
Yeah. What's up, Fritz? Thanks for popping in, buddy.
I mean, I'm not the most skinny person out there, but I'm also not the heaviest. But there ain't no way in heck I could do a 20-mile hike.
No, I did one about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was 9.2 miles, and I almost died.
I did a hike just at the end of summer, and it was a good 4-mile hike, and that was harder than.
Sure, Mom. Appreciate it, Fritz.
Thanks, Prince. Nice to see you tonight. So they go on their hike, and they somehow trick Tony into falling into a pit.
Yep.
And then they make a cell to trap him, and then they've got like their electrified bug zappers to try to keep him in. Like, this movie is just so good for when it was made.
Oh yeah.
And I like that, like the way that they celebrate is they're just gonna eat. They just want to eat.
Oh yeah,
You know?
the mantra from that scene is hysterical. They got the giant bonfire going. Everyone's just,
Mhm.
they're making one giant big thing of food. They're dumping it on each other. You got Tim wandering around putting chocolate syrup sauce all over him.
Yeah.
Just the whole 30-second montage in the slow motion of that scene was hysterical. And then the next morning, like everyone's like passed out by like what was the fire, and Pat wakes everybody up by like yelling at him because they're all in their like little hangover stage.
Right, and he wants to, like, he's not rude about it or anything, but he's just like, come on, we got to start taking better care of ourselves. You know, like, you can just sense like he really does care, but then again, like, he's on the kids' side as well. And I think if Tony would have seen that, like, had that attitude, then it could have been more of a successful fat camp.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
Hi, Kelsey. Good to see you.
Hello, Cal. Thanks for popping in.
And then shortly after that, it's visiting day, and somehow they were able to get on video how cruel Tony was, and just Jerry just knocks him out.
Well, after the
no, he tries to knock him out, and then he does a back, and then Tony does like a backflip and knocks himself out.
I wonder if that was planned or if they just added that. I mean, I couldn't see Ben Stiller doing multiple backflips like that. So maybe, I don't know.
I mean, you think like he's probably in one of those harnesses that he could easily do that. But that would be funny if like that wasn't planned and that just happened and they're like, let's just leave that. It worked.
It served its purpose. So then, then they call it the actual father to come and take him away from the camp. That he's a lamp store guru whose fortune Tony uses to buy and fund the camp. So Tony's father offers to give everyone a refund, go home, call it a summer, thanks for coming. But then the kids don't want to go home.
Right, and that's when Pat's like, let's reamp the camp and let's bring it back to what it was, with their fun activities, with the blob, with the go-karts.
Well, what was funny about that, is Tony's dad's like, well, I gotta find a responsible adult in charge who's been here the longest. And all these parents start saying like 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. Pat's like 26 years. My God, what have you been doing to yourself? Like, it's just like you basically belittle him in a way, but like just the whole aspect of comedy behind it was funny. So then Pat takes over the camp. They restore the favorite activities, like Andrea said.
And then they have their competition with the camp close by camp MVP.
Which the rest of that camp was a complete idiot. I hated him. He's like another Tony in a sense, but I would say more laid back.
And I like that Camp Hope wins, but instead of keeping the trophy, Pat's just like, see ya, and throws the trophy in the water. Because, it's not about who wins or loses. It's about having fun.
True. But don't you can't forget to add the go-kart scene in that. That go-kart race was epic.
It was so fun.
That was a very epic like triathlon like thing. Like they gotta run around, do different challenges. Shaved balloon. I thought that was a good one. Yes. Then they go into the Hall of Knowledge.
Yes, the Hall of Knowledge.
Where no one can get the right answers, but the smart little European kid.
Yeah.
And then you got the go-kart race that goes throughout the woods, and then like you would think that in the beginning that Camp Hope's going to lose, but
Mhm.
as they're going to go that last hill, he accelerates and they put wings on it, similarly to being a pilot, and he like soars over it.
And then bam, wins.
Yeah.
That was so fun. And
Now
then,
talking about your theory though, how like Dodgeball didn't come out for another 4 years after that though, right?
I don't remember when Dodgeball came out. Let's look.
I'm gonna pull it up too.
2004, so 9 years.
So how would you consider that? How would you consider Heavyweights a prequel type movie to the movie Dodgeball? Like you were saying something about like Tony Parkins like being a fitness guru and goes into fitness or whatever. Then Dodgeball starts. He's now running a gym, I guess, right?
Hmm.
And he's like all about fitness and stuff like that. I guess you could see that.
I
Anyway.
mean, it makes a little bit of sense when you think about it, but I think the timeline's just not there, you know?
It's too. If it was closer together, maybe.
Hmm.
But 9 years is an awfully long time to do something like that.
Actually, I think it was 19 years because this came out in
95.
So, yeah, so it's 19 years for 2004, yeah. No. I'm thinking 2014. It's 2004, so 9 years. Yes.
Yeah, 9 years.
Okay, yeah.
About 9.5 years to be precise, almost. What does everyone else in the chat think here? I'll pose the question. Do you think Dodgeball could let me see. There we go. If anyone in the chat wants to answer this, feel free. I'll leave it up for a couple minutes because we like to have our interaction discussion. So, is that Mabel in the back or is that Eli?
That's Mabel.
I was gonna try to do that, but she's then if you want to jump over to the Mighty Ducks, like you said, that's another good Disney series. Mighty Ducks.
Dodgeball is one of my favorite go-to movies, Kelsey. When I'm having a bad day, I like to put that on because it's just so funny. It's like so stupid, but it's just so funny.
Gotta catch these fists. So the original Mighty Ducks movie came out in 1992.
Which is crazy. Like it I can't believe it's been that long and it's still a movie that is so good.
So you know what it's actually called in the UK? It's not called the Mighty Ducks.
The Champions, huh?
Yeah.
Have a good night, Matthew. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good night. You as well. But yeah, I wonder why they changed the title of it, though. That's weird. And this is considered a sports comedy drama film.
I can see it. It raked in $50.8 million.
Should have done more.
I feel like if it would have come out this day and age instead of in the 90s, I think it would have done a lot better in the box office. Because if you think about it, like hockey wasn't really a big thing back then.
No, it was starting to blossom, but this movie helped. Because a year after this was made, Disney found it and funded the NHL's Anaheim Mighty Ducks for the NHL. So everybody's like, oh, they made a movie that inspired an actual hockey team, and they did. And recently, I was at the stadium out in Anaheim area. It's actually a nice stadium, believe it or not. When you walk in, you feel like you're in a shopping mall. And some the home release copies were printed with the title. In some countries, though, the home release copies were printed with the title as the Mighty Ducks or the Champions, to avoid confusion with the title of the sequel. Interesting.
Now, can we talk about the movie poster for a minute? Because it's just so funny.
Oh, what, with Goldberg?
With Goldberg, and he's got big gum, and the hockey puck's coming right at him. It's great.
You know, honestly, that's the first time I've seen the actual movie poster.
I don't think I've ever seen it either.
So, actually a pretty good movie poster, like all wide-eyed and stuff.
It perfectly depicts Goldberg as a character.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so Gordon Bombay, isn't that like the coolest name ever? Like, it's just perfect. But Emilio Estevez, he's just so good in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's why we'll talk about it later. But like, I was happy he was in the first two, but then he kind of took like a backseat in the third one. I didn't understand it, but we'll save the third one for a little bit, in a couple minutes.
So he's a defense attorney who went out to celebrate after he won his 30th consecutive case, and he goes out and starts drinking, and he's arrested for drunk driving. And I really think it's funny. Instead of him getting jail time, he's sentenced to serve community service. And they think community service to him is go coach your local PV hockey team.
District 5.
And we learn that he was a really good youth hockey player. And he actually despises the sport now because he had a really bad experience where it was a championship game. He was the star player, and, you know, he just lost his dad. He's emotional. His head's not in the game, and he misses his shot, and his team loses. And it was like the first time that team had ever lost, and the only time that team has ever lost.
Well, that had something to do with it, and also because he was, I guess you could say, derailed his career because he blew out his knee.
Mm-hmm.
And the minors have never made it pro.
Right.
Even though he was one of the best ones in the state, he just never made it to the next level, so he became very bitter about it. Because you find that out later in the movie as they're like talking about different things with different people.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know. This movie, I will say, made me want to play hockey as a kid. We had just gotten the Olympic Stadium built here in Utah, and that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the Olympic Arena and ice skate and play hockey. Like, that's what I wanted to do, but there weren't any hockey leagues in Utah because hockey just wasn't a thing that, it wasn't big, you know? Like, they didn't have Pee Wee leagues here, which is funny because, like, Utah's known for their snow, but we didn't have any youth hockey leagues.
yeah.
But, like, when this movie came out, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to play hockey. Like, to this day, I still want to learn how to play hockey.
It's a very demanding sport, I'll tell you that much.
I believe it. So anyway, Bombay goes to meet his team, and he does it in the most iconic way. He goes in his limo, and the team's just shaking his limo because, you know, they're like, who the crap is this? And then they see Coach Bombay come up, and their attitude changes completely because they're like, oh, it's this guy. He's, you know, he's got a bad attitude. You know, and you can tell Bombay doesn't want to be their coach. He's like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I want nothing to do with you kids. They don't have, they don't have an area to practice. They have no equipment. He's got a team that doesn't know how to play. Their first game is with the Hawks, which is the team that Bombay played as a kid. The coach is still the same coach.
Oh yeah,
Um,
good old Jack Riley. Mm. Yeah.
and then, so they obviously lose, and the Hawks are just blowing up the score. And so Bombay's like, oh, I think we need a new strategy. Like, obviously, you guys don't know how to play hockey. I mean, these kids have probably never played hockey one day in their life.
Nope.
So he says, let's try to see if we can get like the penalties on our side. Let's try to get the refs to call fouls or whatever they call them, penalties. But again, they lose. Then they go and meet the iconic Hans, who conveniently owns a goods store.
Yep. Then Gordon goes out and like basically puts it on his company's tab and just funds the whole team anything they want in the store, from like skates, cigars, gloves, just like any type of equipment they need.
Like what's funny is like that they were actually only allowed to do that because Bombay went and asked his boss if he would sponsor the team and he would name the team after him.
Yep.
And the guy's last name was Ducksworth, which is how they came up with the Ducks.
Yep. And he promised him his own jersey too. It's not Mr. Ducksworth.
So they played their next game in their new uniforms, their new gear. I think this really helped boost the team's spirits up because now they have proper equipment. They can be taken serious as a team. They end up tying, which is really cool. And then Bombay's like, we need to get some new talent on the team, and they start recruiting. So they find two figure skaters, Tommy and Tammy.
Which, ironically enough, Tommy is Danny Chamberlain. So he was another like one in the mid-90s who had a lot of runs on like Pete and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know his name from like all that and all that, Nickelodeon. And then they get Fulton Reed, the
Whisper.
Yeah, the thug of the group, like he's got a killer slap shot, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get hit by that, trust me.
Bombay takes Charlie under his wing because he feels like Charlie takes after him when he was his age. So he starts to mentor Charlie on, he's gonna mentor him to be a better player, we're gonna train him to be the best of the team.
Yeah.
I don't like how they forced Adam Banks off the Hawks.
Well, get that bring me to that point. Then they realized that like Bombay's in Hans' shot, looking at like the standings and like, oh wow, we actually have a shot to make the playoffs. They start talking about that, and then Hans like, oh well, the funny thing is, if you were playing today, you wouldn't even be a Hawk, you'd be a Duck. And he shows him the new property lines.
Yeah,
and that's like lights a light bulb in his head. He does an investigation, and then they go to the Hawks with their attorney or whatever, and say that Adam Hawk's not playing for the wrong team. That if he keeps playing at the Hawks, will have to play for the rest of the season. So his old coach didn't like that too much. I can see why. He basically taking his best player off the ice and put him on your team. Which,
I actually really loved Adam Banks. He was probably my favorite. from this series, which is kind of funny because like I hate that they did him so dirty because I've been there, you know, like they're really strict about districts. Growing up, you know, I was split between my mom and my dad, so the school district would be like, well, you should be going to this school because your dad lives over here, but then you should be in the school because your mom lives over here. So it was like really hard to get them to be like, okay, you can just stay at this school.
Yeah.
You know, so like I feel for him when they're like, oh, due to property lines, you're now in District 5, so you have to go to this team.
I mean, but that, and as much as people don't like it, that's how hockey does it out there. Like they split teams up by these districts to prevent from power teams. Because Minnesota is all about hockey. And that's how they actually do it. They divide district lines out of these districts, and that's the team you would play for. So I guess the movie, in a sense, does make sense. Did they do it the wrong way? Probably, but who knows?
So after they gain Banks, the team overheard Bombay talking to somebody, and they took what he said out of context, and now they're mad at him, and they just don't show up for the game. So they ended up having to forfeit.
Yeah. He was talking to Jack Riley, saying, "Are you trying to sabotage me?" And then they're talking about how the Ducks are losers. So that's when they heard him take it out of context. So, I mean, I guess at that age, I would too, because like you hear someone calling you a loser and how much you suck, but you don't know the whole story behind it.
So Ducksworth is trying to work with Riley, the coach of the Hawks, and he's like, you guys can keep Adam Banks. And Bombay's like, oh, heck no. And he is given the choice of either you quit the team or you get fired from your job. So he chooses to be fired from his job.
And I would do the same exact thing.
I would too, honestly. Like, I mean, because you can tell, like, after a while, Bombay really starts to connect with the kids, and he's actually enjoying being their coach.
Oh yeah.
So no doubt, I would be like, "Okay, peace."
Yeah, adios.
So they play their next match, and the kids are still a little hesitant with Bombay, but once they win, they are like, okay, well, I guess we'll start listening to the coach. And then Banks shows up and he's like, I'd rather play with you guys than not play at all. So he's on the team, but nobody likes him. I think the only player who really tries to work with him is Charlie, but everybody else is like, no, thanks. Don't want anything to do with you.
You had Jesse Hall call him a cake eater.
Yes.
Yeah, iconic line, cake eater.
So they play their next game with Banks on the team and they end up winning. So somehow they managed to win all the playoff games, and now they're in the final match against the Hawks. The coach for the Hawks tells his players, take out Banks. He's their best player. Get rid of him, hurt him in any way possible, and they do so. And Adams carted off because he's injured. He can't play anymore.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. But the Hawks made a mistake in the final seconds of the game, and someone tripped Charlie. So Charlie's called for a penalty shot for the last second effort play of the game.
Yep.
So Bombay has flashbacks to his childhood because he's in the exact same situation that Charlie's in now. And he tells Charlie, like, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be mad at you. He didn't want to be like the Hawks coach who said, if you miss the shot, like, you're not welcome back or whatever. Bombay's like, if you miss the shot, it's not the end of the world. And I really like that, you know. He's really teaching these kids, like, it's not about winning or losing. It's about having fun.
Yeah. I'm like, Jack Riley, it's not winning if you can't win big. So like,
So Charlie manages to do a really sweet move where he fakes out the goalie and he ends up scoring the game-winning shot.
Yes. Then the families rush the ice in jubilation. Thanks for Hans for his belief.
And we see at the end of the movie, Bombay's boarding a bus to go try out for the Minnesota North Stars.
So what happened with that? So we didn't cover it. The Triple D yes kept. But the reason that Bombay is going on this bus ride to try out for Minnesota North Stars is because through the movie, after the Ducks start winning, they all go to a Minnesota North Stars game,
Mm-hmm.
and Bombay rents out the ice or whatever for them, so they get to play hockey on the actual NHL hockey rink.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're leaving, the players are coming on the ice, and they're all giving Ducks advice and stuff like that. And then Mike Modano and who's the other one? Joe Newendike, who are actually two real NHL players for the Minnesota North Stars / Dallas Stars now, recognized Gordon Bombay. And they said, "Hey, you're the kid that was back in the juniors who blew out his knee.
Mm-hmm.
Never made it pro, but they started saying, oh, you should come out to tryouts next month. We have open tryouts." And Gordon's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll be there, sure."
Mm-hmm.
And all the kids are sort of like dumbfounded and stunned that their coach knows these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't watched that part of the movie, then seeing the whole him getting on the bus at the end of the movie would throw you off a little bit. Just say, sorry.
And I like that they foreshadowed the sequel because they're like, he's like, I will come back next season so we can defend our title.
Yes. Even though number 2 is a little bit different than the original one, but
I liked it. That's the one where they become. Is that the one where they become Team USA, or is that number 3?
Nope, Team USA, you're right. So they really don't even defend their title because now they're being recruited by the U.S. Hockey Association to be the junior team in the Junior World Cup. And they had a couple new players to it, but then they lose a couple. Like Tommy doesn't come back. Tommy Duncan and his sister don't come back, and somebody else doesn't come back for the second one. I forget who. But then they introduce you like the Fulton Reed. No. The other Bash brother.
Yeah.
Fulton Reed, George Gaffney comes in his team, and then Kenny Wu.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. figure skater. The Junior Goodwill Games, that's what it was.
I'm curious why they picked Gordon Bombay to coach this team. Like, why not the coach of the Hawks? Because, he had a better record.
Well, because he has an easy pathway to NHL after a career-ending knee injury. So he was known in the NHL levels. So you think about it. Would you rather take someone who knows the NHL game, or would you rather take someone who is just a pee-wee coach? You want that person with more knowledge.
It's a fair point.
And I think that's why Gordon got picked over Jack Riley. But I'm sorry, everyone, if you're having a hard time understanding me. I'm a little stuffed up still, but I'm getting better, I promise.
My favorite is when at the beginning of the movie when Bombay comes back and he's like, we got to get the team rallied. So they all get on their roller skates and they all go and get them. And they're just like, they're in the mall just rollerblading. And they're like, we got to get Goldberg. And Goldberg just goes off on his own because, he can't skate.
Oh, jeez. He doesn't learn how to skate, honestly, at all in any of the movies. That would be fun, though, to do a live-action roller skating scene like that. That was the Mall of America. So, that might be a little bit fun, I'm just saying.
Excuse me. All right, so Bombay is announced as the new coach for Team USA. They're going to go play in a national competition, and it's kind of funny that the Team USA consists of just the Mighty Ducks plus extras. So it's 5 new players with special talents.
Yep.
I kind of think it's funny. Like, I mean, you would think like a Team USA, it would consist of the top kids in the league, not just, oh, we're just going to pick the same team from before.
Yeah, might as well.
So their very first game, and they think it's like that's how it's going to be easy peasy. Like the kids don't really care because they like easily won against Trinidad and Tobago, and they won easily against Italy.
Italy and Trinidad and Tobago.
And then Julie, I love Julie. She's a really good goalkeeper. Bombay doesn't want to play her, and that's because I don't know per se if he's just favoring his team because he knows how the Ducks play, but
Possible.
Like let someone. I mean, it does say here like he doesn't want her to play because
Greg Goldberg is
on a hot streak.
Yeah.
On a hot streak, yeah. So the next game they play, they lose really bad too. They lose 12-1 against Iceland. But if you look at the players on Iceland, they're older kids. Like there's no way that they're in the same age group.
No, not at all.
They play really dirty, and Adam's injured again. He gets hit in the wrist.
I mean, I feel bad for Adam in a way. He's always getting beat up.
Yeah. I mean, that's how hockey is, but like it sucks that it's the same person from the last movie that gets hurt again. So after they lose, Bombay's mad and he pushes them way too hard. And the tutor's like, look, if the kids can't stay awake to do good in school, then they can't play hockey. So Bombay has this moment of realization, and he's like, I guess I have been a little too harsh, and they're just kids after all. And I love how like he calls them to practice, but instead of like actual practice, they have fun, like you got the cowboy kid who's like, let's lasso you guys up. And,
Jay Robinson.
And they have eggs to help them with their gentle passes, and it's just so fun. And they teach the speed skater kid how to stop because he's not trained to stop.
No, he wasn't the one that was trained to stop. That was Mendoza. Mendoza was.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Mendoza was the fast skater, but he couldn't stop.
He couldn't stop.
I can't stop.
Luis Mendoza. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, at one point he actually can't stop, so he has to jump over the net and crashes into the boards. Oh man, how are you bad for that kid?
So after they had the realization of, okay, like we are not here to essentially win, we're here to have fun, like we're here to play real hockey. So they go to their next game, and Bombay is late for their next match, so Michelle has to step in and act as the coach, and they're not doing too hot, but I mean they're not doing too bad. And then Bombay shows up like late in the third, and he's like, I'm sorry I'm late. And then they do their iconic flying V, and they somehow miraculously win that game.
I always thought that was Han. I don't know. That's right, because Han dies at the end during the second one, so now his brother steps into the picture. I never knew that. I forgot about that actually.
So Bombay realizes that Adam's more injured than he let on. So he has to bench Adam and tell Adam that he can't play. So Charlie goes, yeah, with the duck call, he does I can't do it. Otherwise, I'd try. If it weren't for the braces, I probably could do it. So Charlie goes out and he sees this kid playing street hockey who's actually really good. And he asks if he wants to join their team. So Russ Tyler is now on the team to take Adam Banks' spot. And it got me thinking, why didn't they have a full roster to begin with? Like, you would think that they would have enough players to cover subs or injuries.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And Russ Tyler's character is also Keaton Thompson, by the way.
I see.
Back in the younger days.
Yes. And Russ Tyler has the infamous knuckle puck. I love that knuckle puck. Russ's first game, they win right over Russia, and believe it or not, that qualifies them for the championship match against Iceland. Adam comes back and he's like, Coach, I'm ready to play now. And he goes like this. He's like, look, I can move my wrist. But Bombay's like, I'm sorry, but the roster's full. And Charlie's like, you know what? He can have my spot, which I thought was really sweet because as good as a hockey player Charlie is, I see him more as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they named him the team captain.
Well, the test that Adam Banks does is a real baseline test that hockey players have to do in order to show that they're completely healed at the wrist.
Hmm.
It's a baseline test to test range of motion. I've had to do it all the time.
So the championship game against Iceland is rough. Iceland's playing dirty. The Ducks keep getting penalties. We see Ken's getting in a fight, and then the Bash brothers come in and they get in the fight. The cowboy lassos Connie, or the player, because like the player's not being too nice to Connie, and Bombay goes, are we playing hockey or is this a circus?
Yeah, well, that's Dwayne being from Texas, so with the lasso on it.
So they go into the half, and for some strange reason, they're gifted brand new jerseys the last game, in the last quarter, nonetheless. Here, team, have new jerseys.
Yeah.
So that somehow rejuvenates the team. They've got this brand new energy, and they go and they tie the game. They do a clever ploy where they put Russ in the goal to be disguised as Goldberg. And they pass the puck to him, and he goes, he does his knuckle puck, and then they tie the game with that iconic shot.
I was gonna say that's like the best scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So hands down. Because the Iceland coach's reaction, get the goalie.
And this is the first time that we see Julie play. She's put in on the last shot of the game to block Iceland's top player, and she somehow just managed to, it's just so good. The shot is done, and she's just, you don't even see it happen, and then she just drops the puck to the ground, and it's just great. And then they win. Mm-hmm. And
Kevin's got it though.
And the movie ends with them sitting around a campfire and they sing "We Are the Champions,"
which is another iconic song. And the jerseys that they wear at the end of the game are the same jerseys that the original Mighty Ducks came into the NFL with. So, Joy the Cat Gaffney, I love it. Kevin, you're on your game tonight, buddy. I'm proud of you.
I don't remember much about D3 the Mighty Ducks, but I've got the wiki pulled up to help me with what I don't remember.
The third one was a little bit different. Like the third one is basically them now enrolled into a private public high school. So everybody gets full athletic scholarships to this program. But they find out after they enroll that Gordon Bombay would not be their head coach. He's going back off to do something else. But he'll be checking in with them from time to time. He leaves them in the hands of a former NHL player who is now the JV coach. And the team thinks that they can do the old ways, the Duck ways, and this guy wants nothing to do with the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
He says the Ducks are dead. Those things won't work in this game anymore. You need to grow up. Yeah, Eden Hall Warriors is the varsity team in that movie. Yes, and yeah, Charlie's not a fan of this new coach at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he's struggling from the transition to childhood to adolescence, he feels that he was abandoned him. And then Dean also decides not to go. So now you don't have your coach and you don't have one of your enforcers. So like the team's like dismantling a little bit. And now Charlie feels like all the pressure's on him to try to keep them together. And he has a hard time realizing that. So
I'm gonna have to rewatch this one because I really like reading it. I don't remember this movie at all. I do remember Hans dying.
Yes, Hans unfortunately
but
dies.
Like that's about all that I remember from this one.
And that's the whole part of the movie where Charlie struggles. Because he loses Gordon steps away, Hans dies. You don't really see his mom much anymore. So
yeah, it's like the two father figures in his life are just gone.
Kevin's got it, yes. R.I.P. Hans. But then, like I said, they try to do the duck ways and like they're doing what they would do in the second one. Sorry, hold on 1 second. They're doing it in the third one what they do in the second one. They open practice by like Dwayne doing his lassoing people up, stuff like that. And he lassos Charlie, and Charlie falls, and then slides, and the next thing you see is the new coach right about Charlie. And the coach like doesn't look too happy. He's like, "Your duck little tricks aren't going to work here. Everyone's going to learn how to play two-way hockey." So they start mocking him in a way, and there's a lot of pushback because they don't like this new coach. He's too serious. He doesn't know how to have fun. But then they also wind up losing Adam Mix to the varsity team because Adam is probably one of the better players. So Adam gets offered a varsity spot, and he takes it. So now he leaves varsity, and for varsity, everyone calls him a traitor again.
Right.
Jesse's back to hating him.
Yeah, it's like no matter what Adam does, he just can't win.
Yeah. And then they have the off the ice conflicts with the varsity team. Like, this is our school, not your school. So they start going back and forth with each other, doing different pranks. Like, the varsity says, "Oh, we're going to take you out to dinner." And it winds up being like an $8,000 check that no one has the money for. So they're all stuck watching dinner. Then they go in to the science room and get the fire red ants and litter them all over the varsity's bedroom. And like, so then the varsity players stumble out, and then they wind up meeting at dawn for a game to see who's the best of the best. And like, it's a physical game. Varsity, it's a back and forth game pretty much. But then a fight breaks out, and then Orion shows up, breaks it up, tells the varsity get off the ice, yells at them to leave, and then yells at his players like, nice job. You just forfeited anything that you had on the varsity. Now they're going to own you in the JV varsity game. And he's like, enough with those jerseys. Take those Duck jerseys off. Makes everyone take them off. But Charlie and Fulton refused to. So they actually wind up skating off the ice and leaving the team. So now you're down your main person. You're down another main person. So the team's like, oh, great. So what do we do now? So the rest of the team stays under Orion, learns his way. Meanwhile, you have Charlie and Fulton now skipping school, going to Charlie's mom's diner, going to the amusement park in the mall, getting sick on riding the roller coaster too many times. It's chaos, pretty much. I'm trying to think what else. And then that's when they find out Hans dies, actually, too. Because Charlie's mom, after he leaves the diner, I guess Charlie's mom gets a phone call or whatever, and then he walks out, so you don't know what she wanted to tell him. So then the next morning, he's like, well, then he gets home, and his mom's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. Hans is dead. Then the next scene is the funeral. You see Bombay in the distance a little bit, but then it cuts off to the next morning. Charlie's still in bed, and then there's Gordon. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Charlie's, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm here to spend the day with you. And like Charlie tried to push him off. Oh, now you want to spend the day with me after you leave the Ducks with that crud bum Orion or whatever. It's like, do you know the whole story? And Charlie's, no, I'm here trying to sleep. Gordon doesn't let him, flips him out of bed, which I've done to people before. It's not a fun feeling. They go to the ice skating rink at like 6:30 in the morning, and Orion's on the ice with his paralyzed daughter. And letting her skate on the ice with her, and Gordon tells him Orion's whole backstory. So, I'm sorry I'm going on. If you want to jump in, feel free.
Oh, no, you're fine. Like I said, I don't remember this movie very much, so I appreciate your intake, because, I mean, now that you're talking about it a little bit, like, I do remember that scene where it's just a tender scene, and he's just pushing his daughter in the wheelchair on the ice. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah. Like, and then, like, Bombay explains to him, like, how she was paralyzed. Like, he didn't go pro because of it. He wanted to focus more on his daughter and, like, her rehabilitation instead of being on the road all the time. So he didn't go pro for that reason. So he may seem like a cool, harsh guy, but he's really not. And then they walk down this hallway, and you see all the trophy cases, and like they stop in front of a specific one, and what do you know? There's Bombay in the trophy case again. And Charlie looks over and notices, and like, oh wow, you went here too. So they begin to have that bond again that you see in the first two movies. So then Gordon asks him to give Orion a chance. He'll be back soon to take care of some stuff. And then Charlie goes back and pleads and begs his forgiveness. Oh, I want to come back to the team. I want to learn two-way hockey. Stuff like that. So the coach agrees to let him back on the team. Coach leaves and Russ walks up. Oh, I want to learn two-way. Like Russ is mocking Charlie now. Please, coach, let me back on the team. I want to learn two-way hockey too. Like it was just a funny comic scene with Joshua Jackson and Kenan Thompson. If you haven't seen it in a while, I highly recommend it.
Don't they want to take away their scholarships because one, they're not playing too hot, and two, they're not doing too good in school?
Yes. That's part of that whole same scene. After Charlie's walking back to the team, the coach says, grab a seat, sit down, we're running late. And then the headmaster walks in. Oh, I'm glad I caught you guys. We have a board meeting. You guys are the topic of discussion. And then the coach said, what do you mean? And then the coach and the headmaster go off the bus, and the headmaster basically tells them like they're pulling the plug. The Ducks should get rid of JV hockey. The team's not performing well. They're not winning, so they're gonna have a review, and they're possibly gonna lose their scholarships.
Mhm.
Well, the team all hears this and says we got to do something about it. So you don't know if they ever went to that game or not. But then the next thing they cut into is the board meeting, and like all the players are in there, the coach, it's the board members, and then the varsity teams on the other side of the room.
Mhm.
So then they're having a vote or whatever, and then all of a sudden enters Gordon Bombay.
Bombay is here to save the day.
Ooh, take care of yourself. Get some rest. Double ear infection. That's no fun.
Oh, I feel better, Kelsey.
Yeah, I feel bad because my phone's always on if you need to talk. So
Yeah, I remember that Bombay like just helps himself in. He's just like, I'm here.
yeah, he walks in the room, has his briefcase, he has a suit tie on. Like, all right, we had lawyer Bombay back from the original Mighty Ducks. Amen. Let's go. So then he pops down his. You two guys have a good night. Pops down his suitcase, opens up and all of a sudden he pulls out an Eden Hall scholarship,
Uh-huh.
and he's proclaiming how he once had a scholarship here, saying that it is an academic fulfillment to fulfill the scholarship no matter what. None of the kids are really feeling in school, so they don't have you have to kick them out based off their grades. So they have to honor the scholarships, or they can tie it up in court for the next 5-7 years.
Uh-huh.
So they have to take a vote, and the one lady cracks me up. Well, I guess we have no choice. I vote to reinstate. Like she doesn't want to say it, but she's like, I vote to reinstate the scholarships. And like everyone else like quietly puts their hand up, agreeing with her, saying all in favor. So they have no choice. So now the hockey team's back in school. They're not getting kicked out, and their next main matchup is the JV varsity showdown.
Right. Don't they make that bet because the varsity's mad because they were expecting a brand new JV team that had nothing to do with the Ducks. So I mean, the varsity team doesn't like the Ducks anyway. So they're like, we'll make you a bet if you guys win. We'll change our name, but if you lose, then you guys can you leave the school pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and then what you don't really notice throughout this movie too is Charlie basically finds a girlfriend.
Mm.
I guess her name, I forget her name. I think it's Kim. I have to double check, but like, because you start seeing them like build chemistry throughout the whole movie. She doesn't like hockey players, but then realizes that Charlie's like more than just a hockey player. So we'll get into that later. But Ducks are expelled. It's the Ducks win. They will change the name of their Mighty Ducks. You got that. And then prior to the game, they're all like sitting in the locker room, get ready for the game. And Ryan walks in with this box.
Again, with the jerseys on the last freaking game. Like, what is with
Linda.
that?
Kevin's right. Linda. Thank you, Kevin.
Like, in every single movie, the jerseys get handed out the last game.
That's the thing, though. These weren't new jerseys. These were the ones that they started movies with. But he was like, you guys aren't playing like Warriors. You're playing like something else.
Mm.
And he pulls them out, and it's the old Duck jerseys. So he throws everyone their jersey back, and everyone's all excited. And then, like, he started, as everyone's getting hyped up, he was like, Washington's a very tough team. We still got to play two-way hockey, blah, blah, blah. He's still coaching his style, but now he's letting the Ducks be the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very physical game, back and forth. No one really scores. It's a back and forth physical game, a lot of body check. Some of the like cinematographic scores in the scene were epic. Like when like people were getting checked and left and right. The whole score scene in that movie was awesome. If I could ever find it, I have to find a way to play it on here. But it's almost like a opera type thing. It's really deep. But then late in the game, the Ducks get 2 penalties, so you're like, oh great, the Ducks are gonna lose because now they're down 5 guys to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then Orion calls timeout and propping up. I think it was Charlie Goldberg and Fulton, and he said, "Charlie, we're really back into a corner here. I need you to take charge and like help lead us to victory." As he's saying it, he pats the C on Charlie's jersey, representing captain. He was like, "Go get him, captain."
Mm.
And Charlie looks down, and you see the C back on his jersey. So then they're holding on for basically for dear life to not let the varsity team score. And then Charlie gets the puck on a breakaway with like 5 seconds left.
Uh-huh.
So it's doing the triple deke. So you think, all right, he's gonna do the triple deke again. And then at the last second, slides it over to a waiting person on the opposite side, which is Goldberg, who's not playing goalie because Joy Gaffney was in net. Goldberg gets it, and he's all scared because he's never taken a shot before in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, Goldberg, shoot it. So as he shoots it, he gets like checked by 2 guys, falls back. But somehow, miraculously, within 0.8 seconds, the puck goes from the face-off dot to the back of the net. Ducks win 1-0. Varsity team's in disbelief. And everyone's like all rejuvenated in the stands, going nuts. And they're all celebrating on the ice. And then they're like, hey, guys, look. And they look over, and they basically have a drop cloth come over the Warriors, and it's now a Duck Warrior logo, but it says Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And the headmaster points at the dean. He's like, oh, look. And they look up. That must be Bombay, like all sarcastically. So.
And isn't Bombay like in the audience too?
Yep. Well, he's the one that like winks at Charlie to look over towards the scoreboard. And then you look, and then that's when they drop down the new logo, which is actually a pretty dope logo, by the way.
Is that the hockey mask one?
Yeah, with it looks like a duck mask, has the 4 like the 2 sticks crossing each other. It looks like a really cool logo.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to rewatch this one. It's been a minute. Like I've watched, and I think I don't watch this one because it's not like my favorite out of the 3. But I love the Mighty Ducks. Awesome
logo, indeed, Kev. D3 was a lot forgotten about because where Emilio Estevez does play a role in it. He's not he's not mostly in it. Like you might as well say that D3 is the backstory of Charlie.
Mm.
Like this is you're watching Charlie go up in front of your eyes. Like him struggling to being back in control of his team. And this is actually how Joshua Jackson got his name out there, was these 3 movies. Because right after he got done this one, because I think this one came out in 96. Yeah, 96. So, like 2 years later, he's headlining Dawson's Creek, which went on to be a very successful show. A lot of people don't like Dawson's Creek. I watched all 6 seasons of it when we were in the pandemic, so I had nothing to do. But like the Mighty Ducks is what found Joshua Jackson. I always got him confused with the kid from Free Willy. 2 different people. But yeah, people don't really remember D3 because of Gordon Bombay's character not really being featured in the movie for more than 10 minutes.
And that makes sense because like he's what made the movies, and he's the more well-known character.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, did I forget anything about D3? Please say if I did. Kevin loves these movies. As he has written. So if I had forgot anything important about D3, Kev, please feel free. I have it open on the website, but for some reason D3 sticks in my head very well. Even though I haven't watched it in probably about 4 years, but I have watched it numerous times. So I always remember that one because we're in school. It's a whole different look. Yeah, pretty much. It's a whole different type of plot instead of playing just hockey games.
He did great, didn't he, Kevin? Kind of feel bad that I just kind of sat back and listened because it's just one that I couldn't remember too much to try to help with.
But it's just a different type of Mighty Ducks movie. Because it doesn't focus just on hockey. It focuses on like growing up, the tribulations of being in school, stuff like that. You're going from pee-wees up to adolescent leagues.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to see if they could have maybe done something and have them all attend the same college. Because this is like a prep high school.
Right.
So, like, I would have been curious to see if they could have done something where now it's later in life, they're all in college. Sure, you might not all be in the same college, but like do a backstory on certain ones. Like, what Joy was like the all-pro goalie for Maine or whatever. That she wanted to go into college and playing in Maine. Where did Charlie go? Where did Adam Banks wind up?
Have you seen the new series on Disney Plus? Have you seen any of that?
I watched the whole entire first season, Game Changers. It was very different. It almost has the same feel as the Mighty Ducks movies. But, like, Emilio Estevez has a role in the first season. He replaces Gordon Bombay, but he's like more of an angry Gordon Bombay. He like lives at an ice skating rink.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want nothing to do with hockey. He hates hockey, but he owns an ice skating rink. But then the mom and her son like talk him out of it. They ask him to help out with the team, and then that's where the Mighty Ducks aspect of it comes in. He gets more interested into it. He brings back some of the old duck ways. One episode they have a duck reunion. Connie Monroe, Fulton Reed, Dwayne Robinson. Oh God, who else was in that one? Adam Banks and Kenny Wu. All the five of them come back in one episode.
And
like,
I'll have to look into that because I've been curious, like if it's any good.
I haven't seen any of the second season. The second season is supposedly completely different because now Emilio Estevez backed out of it because they couldn't reach a contract agreement. So this one I've heard is completely different than season one. I haven't seen any of it. I hope to be able to watch it one day. Me and Sam will actually watch it simultaneously and talk about it, weirdly enough. But I would definitely recommend at least checking out season one.
Okay.
You have to nail in the head with the details. Thank you, Kev. I'm sure it would be hard to get some of them to take off time to make it. Oh, absolutely. Like, plus, a lot of these kids now, like, I think Joshua Jackson's what? Hold on. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Hold on. I gotta pull up the cast real quick for you. Joshua Jackson. Yeah, plus you figure Joshua Jackson nowadays, 44 years old. Imagine him trying to replace a role that he hasn't done in, 26 years as a teenage hockey player. Now being, almost 5 years shy of 50, trying to replace his role as a college kid playing hockey. It'd be a death trap. You'd have to basically try to I'm trying to think how to word this. You'd have to cast based off what they would look like when they were 22, 23, compared to what they are nowadays. Like, if you ever watched the movie It, okay? the remake of it, how it's split into two parts. Like the first one had James McEnroe, but then they had to cast someone completely different, but who looked like him. That's what they would have to do if they ever try to replace the Mighty Ducks movies. It would be really hard to do.
Agreed.
Sure, you could have some of these guys, if they would agree to do it, come back and star in it, maybe as parents of the new kids, but you couldn't have them replace the same roles. It would be damn near impossible. According to someone before is waiting. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that in a way because you're always gonna have some type of animosity against certain people you work with. But in Hollywood, like you learn to put that stuff on the back burner. Like I've read numerous reports over the years of certain co-stars who didn't like working with other co-stars. So, one, they try to limit their on-screen time together, or two, they just put it behind them and just shoot the 5-minute scene, and then they go back to hating each other. So it all depends on how you look at it.
That's true.
So, because I think like half that cast of, if I remember correctly reading it, a lot of the cast of One Tree Hill didn't like each other. Because they all seemed like they butted heads, but now 20 years after the fact of the show being out, they're all really close family. So it depends on how you look at it, but someone's watching something good in the background.
Oh, it's my husband's video game.
All I hear is like splashing and like, what are you playing? Fruit Ninja?
What are you playing? They're asking. What are you playing? It's called Tactics Ogre.
Oh, okay. ScreenRant.com says the franchise lost momentum, so that's why there was no deal.
I could see that. I really can.
Oh, I could totally see that.
Because I mean, if you look at like the box office again on the third one, it did not do nearly as well as the first two.
Well, and the funny thing is, believe it or not, I don't remember this one ever being in a movie theater.
It might have been. Remember when Disney used to do like they would do straight to video instead?
Yeah.
And I bet this was one of them. Like, man.
Let's see. So you think about it, okay? The movie came out and was released on October 4th, 1996, right? It was released on VHS on January 21st, 1997. So you figure, yeah, what's that? November, December? Basically, not even 3.5 months later, it's already out on VHS. So maybe they didn't have enough time with it being in the theaters to produce, or it just scored so bad right away that they didn't leave it in the theaters, like you're saying, long enough for that reason. You have Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus. You can stream it.
I'll check it out.
September 4th, 2020. So, yeah, it's been on Disney Plus for over a year. This guy's a Disney Movie Club exclusive. I'm a movie guru. I can sit and watch movies for days on end. Like I was telling you before the stream we started, I just watched the movie Rebound last night. It's an old Martin Lawrence movie that came out in 2002 that no one liked. But I seen it before. There was nothing else really good worth watching. So what did I do? I watched it again.
Well, I have nothing to do this weekend, so I might actually do a rewatch.
Sadly, I have to work all weekend. Yay, me.
Yay for a Monday to Friday job.
I wish.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's a good time to call it a night. Do a shorter show tonight, and when we come back, when is it? The first week of December, we'll go back to our.
Well, the first
And-
week of December, you won't be here though.
I know.
Andrew's taking a 2-week vacation
Yay.
for Friday night movie night. She is allowed. I gave her permission. Everyone don't get mad at her.
But I'll be back on the 9th. So on the 9th, we'll aim for a fantastic Disney discussion.
Great time. See, now we got Kevin watching the Mighty Duck movies again.
Okay, Kevin, we'll watch it and we can compare notes.
Yeah. Next time we have Andrew come on, we'll have her do a 10-minute rundown on her opinion on D3. How about that, Kev? I'll mute myself and I won't say nothing. We'll let Andrew talk nothing about D3 for 10 minutes.
I'll probably watch Game Changers too, honestly.
There you go. Enjoy vacation. There you go.
Oh, I'm gonna go see my sister and the baby. And then the week after that is my Christmas party with my company, so that'll be fun. Happy Thanksgiving, Kevin. Always good to see you. Tell Morgan I love her.
Yeah, well, we still, yes, so I don't know if everyone's read the press release from the preview of the movie. We won't be doing a Friday night movie night next Friday night, as it is Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of us have plans. Plus, we all need a break. Myself included, I'm running 3 shows. I'm possibly adding a 4th one after the holidays. I'm still going back and forth. Said bye to all as well. I got work, but me and Mike will be live still on Monday for Sports Gladiators. Hopefully, talking about a rebounded Eagles team and other NFL sports related stuff. And then Tuesday, as long as Morgan's feeling up to it and everything goes according to plan, we're not doing Take a Joke tonight. We're going to call it now Entertainment Night. So we're basically tell jokes, play some trivia, maybe see if I can find some type of interactive game where people can jump in and play, or just talk about different games in general. So
I like it.
Something just to change it up a little bit, so and make it more interactive because I like an interactive stream. Before we sign off, I think my page is up to 1 second. Hold on, let me see what this number is real quick. Yes, 216 followers on Facebook. I'm still trying to shoot for 350 by New Year's Day. So if you haven't done so already, if you come back later, we watch this. Like the stream, share the stream, and spread the word. Let people know that we're on here. We always like to have new people pop in. We like to say hi to people on the show. We had 6 reactions tonight. We had Kevin drop 1 million likes. Prince came in, dropped a like and multiple shares. Thomas Tarver, I don't know who that is. Thank you for popping in and liking the show. Matt, thanks for popping in. Ted Kiesel, as always, thank you. And Miss Andrea, your first like of the night. Thank you for the like. I guess I should like it as well since I am the host of the show. If I don't like my own show, then I got problems. There we go. Make it a lucky number 7 to end the night. But Andrea, you have a good weekend. Thank you for popping on tonight.
It's fun.
Yes. Remember, D3, watch it.
I will.
Talk to everyone later.
Bye, guys. Good night.